Hello, Cherries. Welcome to Live Cherry Sunday, Special Monday, episode 234. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to use triad pairs to unlock the fretboard. And this is really cool. It's going to be really helpful here. And I'm going to be using just 3 chords today: D minor, G, and C. So it's really a 2-5-1. And we're going to build triad pairs off of each chord. Let me give you a little example of what it sounds like here. I got a little loop here of a G chord. Not a G. We're starting off with the D minor, so it sounds like this. You got a D minor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate back and forth between D minor and E minor. Triads. So it sounds like this. Try that again. All right. So, if you're enjoying this so far, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. Let me show you here what I'm doing. Now with the D minor triad, you got a D minor just like this. Let's switch this camera over here so you can see what's happening here. We have a D minor chord. Wow, that was a loud notification. I don't know why those are on. Shouldn't be on, but they are. So I hope that don't happen again. There's always hope, right? All right, so we got D minor here, and let me show you what's happening here with the D chord. You got 3 notes in a D minor triad. You have the D, you have an F, D, and the A. So D, E, F, G, A. So you're skipping a note each time in the scale. So D, F, A. Okay, and then we're going to use the E minor triad, which is E, G, B. And, you know, with a triad pair, you can't use the same notes. So it's going to be 2 triads that don't share any notes together. And we're only using the string sets of the top, the 1, 2, and 3. The E string, the B string, and the G string, just to keep it simple and keep it organized. And there's no common tones within these 2 triads. So it's pretty cool. You could play an E minor over the D minor chord. So right there, within itself, it just opens up the fretboard. So you have playing E minor. So instead of just playing D minor, which is, you know, you can actually play an E minor over the whole thing. Pretty cool there. But you want to resolve back to the D minor. There's some tension in there. Because you have the over the D, you have the B note, which is a 6th degree. Once you go back to the 5th, D minor. Then you also have the E note, which is a 9th, right there. And that wants to resolve back to the D. So you have this. Then you also have the G, which would be of the D, it would be an 11th or a 4th, and it wants to resolve back to the 3rd, which is the F. So you have this note. You have all these notes. But it makes, it's pretty cool. There's again. Pretty cool. All right, hello, Grease Monkey Guitars. Give you a round of applause. The weekend is great. Yeah, weekend was great. I got back last night from a gig in Sheboygan. Hello, Sheboygan, Wisconsin. And that was cool. Spent the day at the airport traveling, which is always fun. So thank you very much. Thanks for hanging out with me here on a special Monday. Usually it's Sunday. But I was traveling all day yesterday, so we do it anyway. We keep going. If it's Sunday or Monday, it's happy days. So, yeah, really, really cool stuff here. And keeping it on these string sets, the top string set, which is the 1, 2, 3, little E, the B, and the G string. See right there, you have all these different colors sounding, like this. And it opens up the fretboard already, just like the video title. I think it really develops your ear, and it really helps you hear things on the fretboard when you open up and you play triads. That's one of the best things that I've noticed about triads, is that it really develops your ear to hearing the intervals and hearing the chords, because there's such tight little chords here. I don't know how to shut off. I usually have those notifications shut off, and don't know why they're coming through here. Let me see why. Give me 1 sec to see here if I can kill that real quick. Let's see. Notifications. Notifications on. Should be all off before they are off. I don't know how it popped on. I'm trying to see where these are. Notifications. Nope, they seem to be all off at once. They're squeaking their way through. These darn notifications. Anyway, we'll deal with it. Okay, so that's the first one, D minor. And remember, we're not sharing the same notes at all with these triads. These are all different. So it's giving me 6 notes right there, which we'll get into another thing later. It's a hexatonic scale using just 6 notes right there. But it's only just the 6 of them. Now if we go to a G chord, which is the 5 chord of a 2-5-1, like a 2, 5, 1. We see that the G chord, what we're using here is two chords we're going to use are the two triads we're going to use is an F triad into a G. Once again, they don't share the same notes, and it sounds a little something like this right here. Here's the G chord loop. So you got it. So that's the next one, to G. So I'm alternating between an F triad and a G triad. So that's really a good way to show off a 5 chord or a dominant chord is the fact that the G chord, if it's a 5 chord or a 7 chord, G7, there's a major triad a whole step below it. And in this case, it's F. So if we look at this a little bit closer right here, you'll see that this G major chord right here, this G major triad, the 3rd, here you have a B, and all these chords are in the key of C, so there's no sharps or flats, and it's pretty easy to explain, to play. Right there, so you have a B, you have a D, and a G. It's just an inversion of a G triad. So you can look at it as G, B, D. G, skip the A, you have a B. Skip the C, you have a D. And if you just go down a whole step to an F, you have the F, A, C. So those notes right there, you could toggle between them while I have the bass playing the G. So that's the sound of a G dominant chord, because here's the F right there. Like here's the G7 chord. But just while playing triads, you could play the F chord, the G on the bottom. It's almost the same chord as this right here. Except it would be an F / G, the slash chord. I'm not talking about Guns N' Roses / chord. It's got a little bit different of a sound to it, right? Than this chord. G7 or an F / G. It's because I'm hearing more chords, more notes from the G. From the F note, the F chord. You have the 3rd, you have the 5th. These notes aren't in a G7, just the F would be. So what's cool about this triad pair, meaning the two triads together, so I can get like some different colors over these over a G chord. So if a typical G progression or G chord would sound like this, right? This is the G. So it's just playing G's everywhere. What you could do Now I have another chord I can color it up with, the F chord. And same thing right here. But I'm going to resolve back to the G here. That's too much tension right there. There's the F. It's always right, the same shape. Same here. Oops. So, hopefully you're enjoying this so far. If you already hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. I like groovy stuff. And Grease Monkey, how was your weekend? Hopefully it was good and you played some guitar, had some fun. I know it's Monday, start of a new week again, but I can't think of a better way to start your week than to play guitar, right? All right, so we have one more chord in here, and it'll be the one chord, C major, and the C major chord. Clarence just got here. All right, good to see you, Clarence. Give you a round of applause. We're doing some triad pairs here. Triad pairs are awesome. Opens up the fretboard and really gives you some color on the guitar. Some guy, good to see you. Give you a round of applause. Thanks for spending some time here on a Monday. What are you drinking out there? I got my coffee. It's actually I didn't use my Italian espresso today. I used my some different beans that I have. I think that's Stone something. They're excellent. Stone Brewery, something like that. Some kind of coffee. Community dark roast. Yeah, that sounds great too. So we're on the third of the triad groups here, and it's a C chord. It sounds like this. Just a regular C chord. And you know, typically you would play just a C triad right here, right? Yeah, just like that. Just gonna check my tuning. It's been a little while here, and temperatures change and fluctuate. So I know I made my a little sharp. I usually do that on purpose to match the other sharp strings that I fret. We'll start a little lower like that. Okay, so we have the C chord like this. Right? There it is. C, just like this. But instead of playing these regular C triads like that, I'm going to play an A minor triad and a G triad. cool sounding right here. Oh, that's a weird note. Pretty cool. It's a whole new sound right there. So over the C chord, I'm playing an A minor triad and a G triad. Because in the key of C, you have all those chords. I do lots of videos on the chords of a key. And we know that A minor is the relative minor to C. So if I had this C note droning, I could play an A minor triad here. A, C, E. And also G is the 5 chord. Okay, we already played the 5 chord just right before this one, where we have a G, B, and D. So none of those notes are the same right there over the C. So it really emphasizes the C chord right there. You know, I could have played the C and the let's see, the A minor, the G, the C, but the C, those two chords kind of share some of the same notes in there. So these really are pretty cool too. And you can play these up and down the fretboard in different positions, and as you can see, what's cool about that is that it's showing it's the same groupings here. You have an A minor, typical A minor, like A shape chord, A minor shape right there. Then you have the G, which is an E shape right here. Then you have a A minor E shape right here, to the G minor, D shape, then A minor, D shape, and then G, major, A shape, and A minor. So you have like the same shapes right here. Can't really go down with the G too much. We're gonna have to open G. That would be a D note. If I wanted it to sound like this, you know, it'd be. All right. So it sounds nice. All right. Sounds nice. What do you mean? It just sounds nice? Not thrilling, but nice? All right. I forgot what this is called. It's Stone something. Stone City, Stone Brewing Company? Something like that. Just Stone. I guess that's just enough right there. I wanted to switch it up a little bit today. And hopefully you're enjoying this so far. Hanging out with me here for a little bit on a Monday. Really, really cool. These triad pairs. And, you know, I mean, this is just like the tip of the iceberg. You can kind of go really crazy with this. But it's really fun. It's really fun to know these because, you know, playing it just opens up the guitar. So instead of playing, if you're just playing a D minor chord, you can really kind of make them ring out nicely with some different sounds. Like the D minor, play it while the D is droning out, hit the E minor chord. You know what I mean? Here, check it out, a little bit closer. Have a look right here. D minor open right here, hit the E minor open. Now play a D minor again here. So it's a way to move up the fretboard. Here's an E minor again, going up. Oops. Right there. So E, D minor, E minor, D minor. And keep going. Here's another D minor right here. Right? E minor again. So it's the same thing. We've talked about triads before, where it's like here's the second inversion. Really, it's a D minor shape. It's, you know this, but because I'm starting on the fifth, you have the fifth, the root, the third. Then you go up to here, and that's a regular root. D, the third, and the fifth. So that's it. And then you have another one starting off the third, which is this. So here's your three shapes of the D minor triad. Well, guess what? E is the same thing shape-wise. So instead of doing it this, and there, I'm going to play an E minor. So I'm just moving it up a whole step. So it's like this. Now I'll leave the D droning. Now I'll give it the sound like this. So you have D. Now E minor. It's just the same three shapes. But now I'm playing them next to each other. And back to the top again. But I want to land on the D, make it sound resolved. Same thing. So when you have the music playing, and you can arpeggiate them too. Like I was playing. Pretty cool. I love it. I love this stuff. Really opens up the fretboard and allows you to really hear stuff. Like it's a really good way to tune the guitar as well, because you could hear the chords, and if they're in tune, up the neck. Like I do a thing that's like a it goes something similar where it's a D. It's a G under a D, an A under a D, or over a D, D, then a G over a D, A over a D, here's a D again. So I could really hear as the, I would want to go up a little bit sharp right there, you know. And when I get up to here, here's a G again, A again, right here. So that's where I know, like, what happens is it starts to get a little flat as we get up the fretboard. So I hit this D. When I fret this B note, a lot of times it's a little flat. Hear that? I bend it down. So I'll cheat a little bit and I'll just go up a little. Like that. So now, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but look, I'm still in these here. It just sounds better. So it's a little flat still. There we go. Better. So it really helps you with the tuning. Maybe develops your ear more. So I'm really hearing these chords, these triads, they're really close together, and you know, a lot has to do with your intonation on your guitar as well, and your ear, how well you hear chords and everything, your intonation, your own internal intonation. I just made that up, if it makes any sense. So any questions about this stuff, let me know. This is really cool stuff here we got going on. Just taking two chords, you know. Oops, I didn't do that. And they're really like the same shapes, which is really cool too. This D minor, all you're doing is playing the same thing, up a whole step. Let the D minor drone out. So if you can get some kind of loop going, you know, some kind of loop going, really cool thing. But now what happens is, now my B string's a little sharp from down here, which is kind of a pain in the butt. It's that darn B string. That's the one that is the most problematic. A lot of people say it's the G string, but see right here it's in tune, but up here it's flat. Right, so you want to compromise a little bit. But also, a lot has to do with the way you're holding the guitar. You know, if you're playing a chord, and if your arm is hitting the body, and you're putting pressure on it at all, when you're fretting the chord here, and then you're taking your arm and you're bending it, look what happens. Hear that? So, you want to try to get away from doing that. So I'm going to hit this chord up here. Like there. There you go. Get a little grungy. All right. Jeffrey, there he is. Smalls needs you. What's happening? Give you a round of applause. Thanks for hanging out, spending some time with me on a Monday. All right, enjoying some coffee. Some Stone Brewery. When I think of a brewery, Actually, I was just in Milwaukee. I flew into Milwaukee, and I always think of Laverne and Shirley. Not that I'm in Milwaukee very often, but isn't that where their brewing company? Brewing. Can't even say that. Brewing. Or is it a brewery? A brewing company. A brewery. That's hard. Hard to say. Imagine trying to say that after a few beers. Probably a little tougher. So it's what, Haas and Pfeffer Incorporated? Is that them? So yeah, and then we went to the G chord, which is we have that's F chord, F, and the G. So it's the same thing. Now I have the G chords right here. Here's the G. Here's the G. Here's the G. Check this out. You have a G triad right here, which is this note, the G, B, and D. It's the first inversion, G triad. And you have this one, second inversion, because I'm starting on the fifth degree. Same three notes, just inverted. Then here's the first root version. G. There's the three of them. 1, 2, 3. And of course, over this G chord, I could play these triads. Let's try it again. Like this. But why not spice it up a little bit by adding the F triad? So it's the same thing, only down a whole step everywhere. Here's the F, F, G, A, B, C. Here's the next one going up right here. F, F, G, A, C. So there's this second inversion because the roots are we're starting on the bottom, on the fifth. Then first inversion. Here's right here. So it's just a whole step down from the G notes. The G triad, G, G, G. Here's F, 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 F. It's just right next to each other. So now I have some different colors right here that really show off that G7 chord. F. Right? You want to... Same thing here. Same thing here. That's just playing two chords over the G note, an F and a G. So any questions about this, let me know. So, and then there was the final chord, that notifications. Are you hearing that? That ding? You know what? I'm getting notifications through my system and don't know why I'm getting those right now. I usually don't, but I don't know why I'm getting those notifications in there. They seem to be off, but at the same time, I am getting them. Notifications. And all the notifications seem to be off here. Maybe that's what it is. Kill some more notifications. Let's just kill everything here. Off, 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 off. They seem to be all off. Maybe this one right here. There's a couple that were on. I don't know if that was the reason why. I think they're from emails, but that says my emails are off. Avid link. That's off. Off. Okay, let's see if that helped at all. Seems like everything is off. Even my brain is off. But yeah, so I thought I had that under control, but we'll see what happens. All right. Well, thanks for dealing with me here today. Let's see. Some guy. I've been going through OBS with a fine-tooth comb as mine is stopped communicating with my DAW and your desktop audio is on in your autoface. So skew. I've been going through the OBS with a fine-tuned comb as mine has stopped communicating with your DAW, okay, and your desktop audio is on in your audio source cues. Yeah, so I'm getting these notifications. And it's kind of a crazy thing here. Maybe because my email is open in there. Maybe. Let's try that. Maybe that helped. I closed the email. I think that might have been what it was. I had my email open in there, and maybe it's all good now. We'll see. All right, sorry about that. Thanks for dealing with me here as well. Lots of technology going on here, and sometimes things go weird. But it's rock and roll. What do you want? It's live. Okay. So, and then there was that last chord, the C chord. Check it out. We have a C chord like this. And of course I could play just a C triad like this. Play that here. Regular root version. Like that. Here's the root C chord triad. Here's the first inversion. And here's the second inversion. But I'm not going to play the C at all. I'm playing an A minor and a G over the C. So it sounds like kind of like this. All right, pretty cool right there. And so this A triad is the root version, A minor, A, C, and E. Then you go to this G, where it's the third on the bottom. So here's the G, B, and D. So I have 6 different notes right there. So it's legal right there to do that, because you can't really share notes and triad pairs right there. Just like, I'm not using OPS, no. I use some guy. I don't use OPS. I use Ecamm Live. Pretty happy with that. Yeah, I got to pay for it, but it's OBS is very complicated. Not that I'm totally against that. I mean, it just didn't. When I started this a while ago, Ecamm seemed very logical for me to use. So, A minor, G, and I just keep going up. A minor. Here's the next A minor I could see right here. So all the A minors, I have this one, the root, here's one on the third, and here's one starting on the fifth. So here's my A minors. Here's my G's. So I'm just toggling between these chords right here. Toggle between the A minor and the G. The A minor, the G. The A minor, the G. Back to A minor. While I have a C on the bottom. C chord on the bottom. So I have the A's. To C. Nice, some color tones here. To C here. So hopefully enjoying this. Hopefully getting some out of this here. Ecamm Live. Hello, Elk. Just started watching and just enrolled in your Essentials course. That is great news. I'll give you a round of applause for that. Thank you so much, Elk Hornslow. Elk Hornslow. Very, very grateful for that. Thank you very much. Really, really cool. So, yeah, this is really, really cool stuff. Any questions about this stuff, let me know. This is all fun. I love this stuff. Kind of a theory nerd. Or a analyzing guitar nerd right here. So any questions? We just did 3 chords. And it's a 2-5-1. We're in the key of C. And that means we got a D minor, a G, and a C. Just like that. D minor. Now you can put all these 3 chords together and do the same thing with that, you know, playing over the D minor. Over the G. Remember you have those F's chords? Over the C. You have that A minor. D minor. The G. And the C. So you can mix them all up and play over 2-5-1s and coloring them up that way, which is pretty cool. But I like this for just opening up the fretboard. And this is only on the top 3 strings right here. You know, where we did that. Pretty cool. You know? So really opens up the fretboard. We just did that on the top 3 strings. Now I would take the same idea and just move it down to the D string, the G string, and the B string, and do the same type of things here. Once you have the D chord. There, then you have the D here. D here. And D here. Do the same thing everywhere. Really, really cool. Really good stuff. So, all right. Any questions about this? Let me know. Having a good time here today, and thank you very much, Elkhorn Slow. Really, really appreciate it. Give you another round of applause. Really, really cool. I mean, there's all kinds of other stuff you could do as well, and getting altered sounds out of the G chord and everything, you know, just to really get kind of crazy. You could play over that G instead of playing the F and the G. You could play a G and a D flat, like right here. Right here, what was it? D flat, right? It's right about here. Get some really deep sounds right there over that G chord. Pretty crazy sounds right there, right? Really crazy. So that's another thing for another time right there. So any questions here, let me know. I go live every Sunday usually. Today we had to do it on a Monday because I was out in Cheesehead territory, out in Green Bay, Wisconsin, but actually Milwaukee, at a little town or big town, not quite sure. It's called Sheboygan, at a theater out there called the Weil Theater for Performing Arts, with a SOS, direct from Sweden, a tribute to ABBA, which is the band I was playing in then, and it was really, really, really cool. Jeffrey Boyle, I saw the movie Altered States when it first came out in the theaters. Really, I remember that. I remember Altered States. That was a crazy movie, right? Altered States, that was like way ahead of its time. Really, really sci-fi. Altered States. I remember that. It was real trippy. I think that came out right around the same time as Aliens came out, right? It was way ahead of its time. Altered States. My God. Is that the movie where they were dunking? I mean, the visual, like I visualize, or I recall some of the scenes where they were like dunking somebody in a tank in that movie. Or was that Alien? I'm confusing the two. I don't know. Something with water, and they were dunking the people to do some kind of test on them, or I don't know. Crazy sci-fi movie. So yeah, I was in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and getting there was crazy. There was some layovers, and it was delays, and lucky I got there when I did. It could have been a lot worse. So Clarence, thank you for sharing your guitar knowledge. Very helpful. Have a great week. Yeah, same to you. Have a great week. So, yep, really, really good stuff here. So, yeah, it's real easy stuff. Just remember to, with the D minor, play an E minor triad, and with the G, play a G minor triad, a G triad, and also play an F triad. You get those sounds right there. And then over the C, play an A minor triad and a G triad. And end on a C. Pretty stuff, and it's super simple, and really develops your intonation on the guitar, your ear, and opens up the fretboard. So instead of playing just one chord when you see the G or the C or the D minor, you could play an extra chord in there. And yeah, you could play a lot more chords, but just adding that one extra chord in there really opens up things and gives you a lot of ideas, and you could switch it. Doesn't have to be those two chords. You could play any chords, any two chords together. So we're just kind of keeping it simple and playing an extra chord in there, kind of like superimposing a chord. And that's what a lot of people do to get interesting sounds. They'll add another chord where you would think a regular chord should be, instead of that C chord right there, right? They're playing like an A minor chord there. Now you're getting that sound. Instead of this sound. Regular C. Play the C with the A minor. Really nice, right? Which is really an A minor over a C /C. Or this sound right here. That's a G /C. So instead of having this sound, which is very, it is what it is, C. Now you have this chord. Very pretty. Just opens up the whole idea of the guitar, really. To have that G chord right there over a C, and wherever you have a G, I can find a C and play it here. And there it is again. G/C. Lots of ideas. Very simple ideas, but I'm really into simple, so I dig that. So any questions about this, let me know. Or let me know later on when you're watching in the comment section. If you have any ideas for any future stuff for next week, I think I'll be here next week on a Sunday. So I haven't heard any notifications yet. Maybe what I did finally fixed it at the end. I think I turned off my email on my audio computer. I have two computers, by the way, running this show right here. So yeah, next week, it looks pretty good for next week. That's July 6th next week, and I think that I think I'll be here, ready to go, live. Yep, nothing else. I'm not out of town, so that's good. Very, very good. All right. Yeah. Actually, wait a second. No, yeah, that's right. Yep. And then the following weeks, I think I'll be out of town, so we'll have to push back. But next Sunday, I'll be here for sure. So thank you very much for spending time here with me here today, Jeffrey Boyle and Clarence. You guys are awesome. Some guy and Elkhornslow, and thank you for the course. Really, really appreciate that. And by the way, the course is the Essential Skills Collection for Guitar, where there's 4 sections. We have a section on fretboard memorization where you could easily find every note on the fretboard. The Circle of Fifths, which basically talks about what we did today, only it's an easy explanation of all of the keys in this beautiful circle. And blues soloing, where we talk about vibrato and bends and lots of backing tracks and graphs on that. And then there's Learn the Cage System, which is similar to these triads, but in the full cowboy type chords, and how they relate to a 2-5-1 progression all over the neck. So thank you very much for checking that out, and really, really, really appreciate that. The link's in the description if you're interested in the course. So thank you guys, love yous, and if you want to see an awesome video similar to what we did here today, I put that right up there. And have a great week. Be cool, be kind, and be cherry. You guys are the best. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time, Sunday, coming up. So, peace, y'all. Later.